Good morning. Oh my goodness. Oh, I thought I had an intro. You know what? I changed some of the settings. Good morning. And so I was looking up at the big screen. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. Let's jump into it. Okay. And I think also, let's take this off and do this. Yeah. Okay. And go ahead and grab your journal. Um, your journal. I do have a free template that you can follow along in the Discord. And I also have the free post market trading digital journal that has a dashboard where you can put your stuff and upload the screenshot on TradingView85.com. I'm trying to log on to my big computer here. I put that in the background. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with SPY. I'm going to spend a significant time there, and then you should be able to do the other two. And also, part of the journal, I did some of my journal set up last night, which is why I'm kind of maybe not being for you guys. Here's today's date. Today is Friday, the 17th. So Friday, especially if you had a profitable week, like we're not trying to rush anything. And if you kind of take a peek at what's happening here with the market, a lot of volatility. I also don't want to invite you to park anything that is outside of this trading session and our goal for this 1 to 2 hours. Park it, okay? And so anything outside in terms of like budget, what you do for the weekend, family, friends, relationships, work, pets, all of that, we want to put it to the side and start to focus on what it is that we have ahead of us. We're going to concentrate, and then when that time is over, whatever is there will still be for us when we are done. Okay. Um, so we started with today's date, and then on Fridays, usually markets like the institutions like to get in and out early, and so we want to do the same thing too. If we get profit on that first trade, we close our laptop and walk away. Um, don't want to jump back in and get that profit, stuff like that. Next thing up is news. So, like I said, let's just refresh this. I already put the information down. Today is OPEX. I'm glad I put that down on my journal here. But it is OPEX, meaning that this is when options expire. And from what I understand, July usually tends to be one of the higher, more profitable months. But when we look at the markets today, we're going to be like, I feel like as much as we try to break to the upside within the last 2 days, we just had a reversal. So, um, but pre-market data, we had building permits come in slightly lower than what was forecast. Housing starts came in slightly higher than what was forecast. In terms of building permits, they're down zero point 0.3 from a zero point 0.7, so that's a significant, yeah, I can see that. Export prices are slightly up. Housing starts are at 19%, previously at negative 15.2. Um, the export prices, just a tiny little increase up, that's year over year. Import prices are also up, at least 1%. We have consumer sentiment at 7, so mark that off. I've already put that on the chart for tomorrow as well. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with in terms of pre-market. Now, let me make sure to bring you guys back over here. Make sure you guys can hear me. Oh yeah, StreamYard, I probably need to have another quicker check-in because sometimes it struggles to connect the voice. So I do apologize if you haven't been able to hear anything, but we went over the market and not market over the news. So we had pre-market data at 5:30 for building and housing. Today is OPEX, and then we have consumer sentiment at 7. And I did market over here yesterday. Um, I really enjoy trading, but I'm just trying to be careful that it's not something where, you know, I'm not. So meaning that I like looking at charting and stuff like that, but it doesn't mean that I need to spend hours on it. So what you're gonna see here is I'm just gonna make sure that I'm eyeballing with my own eyeballs these higher time frames to make sure if anything has happened because like yourself, I've added this indicator. I'm at least 90 days in from using it, and I want to make sure. So these pre-market hit 30%, so it's back on the upside. Ooh, hit 50%. I love to see that. Dropped it back down to 30% there. Otherwise, all of these other things, ooh, we covered nicely, came back to 50%. Um, but other than that, I like to see like higher time frame stuff. So like a 4 hour, 1 hour, or 1 week or 1 day, something like that. And then just jump in and get that base hit and stuff. Let's see. So we're at the week, and we're just gonna start coming in. Let's see here. I do have one other indicator on my chart. So these are just, every time I refine it, I just optimize it. I put it, love the volume, and then gaps. So that's the only other thing I have on there. But you can kind of eyeball for yourself. But I feel like, you know what? We were moving with AI and everything. Like, let's not try to be like, oh, you can't, whatever. All right, let me get off my soapbox. So we did have a gap form here on the 4 hour right here. And if I take this off, you'll see it with your naked eye. There's a gap. So let's just go ahead and mark that out. A lot of people know that I prefer to base it off of the 4 hour. When we get to the lower time frames, it might skew a little bit. Um, Now, this is important here because we did attempt again to get to the upside above this VWAP, but we are failing through that. And I just don't like that for the Qs. Yes, I wanted you to pull the gap. Now, that being said, oh no, this is SPM. Um, but yeah, I was wanting us to kind of have a nice recovery, but I think that part of the reason why like institutions didn't want to, go to the downside is because it's just on a strictly technical basis. Once you tip that scale, we've got more downside. So here's that little bit of that imbalance here in terms of, you know, where the 4 hour and the 1 hour gap is. I'm just gonna, because I'm most likely gonna stay on this 15 minute, especially on SPY. So we're bearish. I would have liked to see this here, but that's okay. So in terms of playing both sides, let's just put something here too. Our next stop, like it would be previously below. I'm gonna, uh, I think it would show up on there, and then would be the 200 moving average here, like 1 hour. Yeah. So, and then I guess what we would do here is we would look for this would be my buy above, although I would probably move it to here. We can see what the logic behind that. Because not only does it line up with the calls kind of here, I can even move it up just a teeny tiny bit, but it's with the stop loss here. And then, where's my sell below? Oh, this is my sell below here. So I'm just going to base it off of this gap. Usually when we feel like a gap to the downside, we fill orders here, we can drop that down. It's a possibility. But we're continuing to stay down here, so we are going to be bearish until we probably hit a previously low. Um, and then if we get to here, looks like we had, uh, yeah, if we get to here, we're going to start looking at stop losses for more downside for a previous put level and revisit those, right? So that's that. go back to the 15 minutes. How are we doing on time? Ooh. All right, and like I said, I spent a little bit more time on the news than SPY, but now that you have an idea, let's go through QQQ, and you'll have an idea of how what I'm looking for. So I'm just putting my personal eyeballs on what we're looking at here. This, like how we're coming back down, maybe next week we'll move the buy above some of the low levels here, but we're gonna probably have a little bit of a bounce, especially on the monthly off of this 8. So let me mark that down as a level. So 8 on QQQ, I wanted to check the when price crosses the 8 EMA on the monthly. If we go and eat off of that, we're gonna eat off of that. Ooh, I'm excited. Um, yes, let's kind of go away today. So weekly. Now this is interesting. This is a 300% level here on the weekly. But if we drop, we could kind of build a base off of here. But rule of thumb, we open the buggies off here on the weekly, is that we could want to come back into here and then continue, which is kind of way down. I felt like there was a gap. Let's keep going. These are my higher time frames. So yeah, there's this pesky gap way down here. I think you see it. Mercy. Mercy. But the next gap is going to be this one. So, and we kind of, let's continue to work our way back down. But I would say, so whereas, yeah, the gap is here. Let me make this. The gap is here. So we were building a base. So it's kind of like a slow drop to the downside and a breakout, but then we gap down. Um, yeah, so the play for today, honey, is going to be this gap. It's going to be, well, let's wait for confirmation. Now, SPY just gave us what we are looking for. So I'm going to go back. SPY just gave us that pre-market. Let me see. And I did want to move this on the 4 hour. So obviously, whoops, this even just doesn't have anything. This is just one amount. Let me move this down here. Yeah, this into the 4 hour. We have been eating off of these gaps. So the trick here is we're in between gaps, and we're gonna wait, absolutely wait for the technicals to, for the indicator to tell us what it wants to do. So we hit 300%, which tends to be a reversal level. And on the 1 hour, we did open below this VWAP. I feel like it's going to try to fight and possibly fight this 8 if we try for upside. Um, but this is just very bearish territory. Um, this is a 4 hour, but you can see on the 1 hour we have another level here as well. So we can just decide to come fill this up. Another thing is this previous month high, you can have buyers step in here, so that can be a little bit annoying. I would say be careful with your take profit levels. Wait for a little bit of a bounce, so if you have your runners, but just anticipating that, and then come back and fill this gap, and then we go about our business, go about our day. 15 minutes. I would have liked to see the 15 minutes. Oh, this is important here too. Yeah, so you can see right here we're starting to buy up off of that 300% level. Um, but yeah, this is good. This is you know, so we're in between levels. We're gonna wait for a entry signal, And what happens on Wednesday is it happens so quickly, especially with in the 5 minute. Do not chase, because if and especially it hits 100% and 300%, it's you just chill. Um, Here we go. So the SPY gave me what I like to see. I love how close it is to to market open here on SPY. I love to see this. So usually when we have pre-market, you know, this is going to be play out beautifully for us. Okay. And then last but not least, I always talk about how all three of these ETFs, like this is the one I really started to fall in love with trading, and it just made so much more sense to me. I feel like so started trading with SPY, love the chase and throw, QQQ got introduced to QQQ, and then IWM is just like the baby of the babies, and so obviously soft spot for all of them. And anytime we come to this 300% level on the 3 months right here, if we fall below it, usually like the first drop will be like $6, and then it's $2, and then like $1. So if we fail below here, we can have more downside. The other thing is that we do tend to like to come back into the base. It happens on the lower time frame, and so although these are kind of calm, it's going back into that. Let me look at this. Yeah, we haven't really quite come back into this, but it's okay. It's a little slightly different on the higher time frame. But with the monthly, I mean, we can. I'm gonna put IWM the monthly as well. IWM EMA crossover on the 8th. I'm gonna set those indicators up because I feel like if we have more downside here, we want to be able to feed off of that. And because I don't go higher than the 4 hour, barely the 8, uh, I just want that extra set of ears, like eyes and ears. I'm gonna continue to leave this as the buy above sell below level. This is a bullish zone. Looks like we are rejecting previously high, previously low, but I love how tight this is right here because that means that we're going to have much more of a likelihood of a breakout. And then we have a tiny little gap here. Oh, well, you know what? And even with that being said, it is on the 4 hours. So let's just go ahead and mark it out. This is a gap that happened here. Let me show you guys so you can kind of see it with your naked eye. Don't worry. Oh, let's take off all. Yeah, see, so there's a gap there. Nothing to be afraid of in terms of like not being able to use an indicator or anything like that. Now here, we did open up. We were attempting to break to the upside, you guys, and we opened above the VWAP here, but we're solid candle right through it. So key levels are going to be, especially here. This is the bottom of that 1 day um, block that you saw earlier. This 1 day block, but if we break below here, I would say just be careful, only because we wouldn't, we can get strong buyers step in here off of previously below and see it as a key um, buy-in level before we come back in and revalidate this zone for more upside. We could see here that after this block form, this breakout form, we came in, got some orders, jumped up to the upside. Every time we break above this daily zone, we try to hit like almost $6. Um, but, and here you can see that rejection off of the 3 month, 300% level. But you can see that we buyers stepped in here hella strong. So it's going to be important when we get to this bottom. Wait absolutely for confirmation that we are open below here. Do not try to jump the gun. Do not try to jump out early because you can get the snatchback of your whole entire life. Okay. And then we also have these strong 200 moving averages here off of the 4 hours. So super strong levels. I would say even though we're bearish here, I would say just proceed with the utmost caution. Now, I do like to see this here in terms of pre-market. I do like to see this here. And again, we talk a lot. I talk a lot about how my indicator, like when we hit this 300% level, um, do not be greedy. If you want to leave like one runner, then so be it. You know, but we're always gonna. You start there with the 3 months. Always gonna have some type of a pullback. And then the only other thing too is these lines. So this is we have 7 o'clock data consumer confidence. So if you kind of want to wait until institutions figure out what they're gonna do, you can wait until after 7. And then 7:30, I have this for myself. It's just a check-in for me to say like, hey, if you're in profit, baby girl, walk away, okay? Um, and we're not going to chase and also expect a change in the markets and how they're moving. Um, and that's going to be good for us to kind of practice for Fridays as well too. I feel like we have a good setup for Friday. Just I would say in terms of A, B, and C, I'm going to give QQQ a B only because it has us in between these gaps and you want to get a clear indication that we want the downside, to fill the gap. And we have a bounce level here, strong previous month low. So literally, as frustrating as it can be, we can touch here and buyers can step in. Um, I would say SPY has a, it does like to satisfy pre-market levels. So we can satisfy this and literally just, we have a previous week low here, so we might have buyers step in as a previous week low. And if we hit 100%, just be careful there as well. But, and then possibly try to get that rally. But, and then on IWM, same thing, we have a setup for the downside. But once they hit 100%, it's kind of like, I wouldn't say invalidates it, but we're going to try to deal with these pre-market levels. But I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of like, you know, break below here, bounce off a previous week low. Here we have previous month low, and just buy these levels right back up and try to get the rally. Although it's QQQ, it doesn't make sense to ignore this gap because we have to deal with it, and we should have dealt with it so much sooner. You know. Let me go ahead and fix this. I'm gonna take a little tiny little break. Alright, and I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. I'll leave you with some music. I like this song, and then maybe I'm just gonna not like it, but alright, I will be right back. Oh, well, put it down another 5%, you know. All right, get this off. So let's just regulate our nervous system. We have 2 minutes out from market open. The temptation is going to be there to um, jump into a trade. I will say this, I will jump in and try to get an order fill um, if I see that like maybe an alert goes off for like a 1 day, a 1 hour, 4 hour, and just do a base hit and get out. But the only thing I don't like is that you have to chase because on Robinhood you only are allowed like limit orders, whereas a market order can put, give you the fill that you want. But if you want to just go ahead, especially with QQQ, let's wait for that 5 minutes. Let's wait for the a signal, right? So the thing with QQQ has been once a signal, and when it happens quick. If it hits 50% by the time you pull up your stuff, you might get re-entry. But if it hits 100%, then you know, all right. So that's what we're gonna do. I think QQQ is gentler on your contract, so I'm gonna for small, you know, and then QQQ. I just feel like QQQ across the board, just wait those 5 minutes, just because of the volatility and the theta parts that happen. And then SPY is kind of a little bit. The contracts are kind of high for. All right, so there we go. I'm not seeing entries for calls or any for puts or anything. Um, so here it hit 200%. We're about to hit 200% there on IWM. We have that reversal at 50% there. If you're feeling FOMO, that is A-okay. We've got a lot of buyers stepping in here on QQQ. They can flip to red, but let's see, we got a lot of volume. Yeah, we got a lot of buying volume here as well. Bond. This one's just flip. Yeah. Okay, you see the struggle more for the buyers and sellers here on IWM. We're just going to be patient. This is a nice healthy pullback here at 50% on SPY. So it's a little bit of a cleaner setup for entry to the downside, and it still gives you a little bit of an opportunity to come and take a profit at 100%. Whereas this one, we're already way below that 100% level. Here, remember we talked about how if you break below, this is a 1 day block, bullish block right here. If we break below here, um, you can get a vicious snapback. They're buying up this level here, and then you have previously below here. So see how it is definitely paying off to just wait until the institutions do what they need to do, let them calibrate. Today is OPEC, so it's going to be a little bit of volatility. Me, if I, just do it for, even when you're talking about like consumer sentiment, but just as a trader, I think that if I had contracts, I would have tried to have them so much higher. And so now that contracts are closing out, it's like they're going to close out their contracts. Right? And I don't think we're anywhere close to where we want to be at all. So here they're just getting that nice healthy rejection off of VWAP. right below the 50% level. If we start to get some, there we go, I like that. This is starting to look good in terms of the rejection. For more downside here on IWM, you want to see it start to hold below here. We have a nice rejection here off of up as well and the 8. So you're building a nice base to the downside. You want to see it kind of maintain below here. And then same thing here with SPY. Nice rejection off of the 4, not quite the 8 or the VWAP, but it's now going to give you that. Looks like this one's going to give you the best bang for your buck here on SPY. SPY is going to give you that 100%. Okay. Taking a little profit at 80. Beautiful. These people are about to be done in like 1, 2 to 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. Let's see what they do with the 100% level here. With SPY leading out input to the downside. Let's just see what IWM does. You can see the profit taking here at 100%. So here's the profit taking. Alright. Fixing that right there, just taking profit. They can continue some more downside, but this is a take profit level. Strong take profit level here for them. You can come down to this lower, especially because this one didn't have like a pre-market. It looks like there was on a way smaller time frame. Push to the downside here. First 5 minutes, so give yourself a star if you waited for that first 5 minutes. Okay. Give yourself a star for 5 minutes wait. And you can see that we truly did not miss anything out. I mean, if you wanted to kind of get in on SPY, it would have given it to you. Very nice. So okay, we still have more ahead. I want to see IWM continue to hold below here and do a base hit. Let me look at context on QQQ and just keep a very tight stop loss because I know I'm not the only one that is eyeballing that gap down there, but I don't want to get caught up in. So first we'd be looking for like a 682. The volume is not that great down there. I mean, there's 2,000, but it's not as high as what I've worked. Well, we have a lot of buyers at 685. We have 12,000 buyers at 685 on QQQ. Let me look at the 5 minutes and see. Yeah, I think they're right there. And there's I think what has me cautious is, I'm going to show you why I'm cautious this time, is because I consider the VWAP to be a bounce, and so I expect some type of pullback. We did open the up here. Now, how far down is it going to go? I'm just going to be careful with that. I was looking at QQQ. You can see, I don't feel like giving back money today. And 390. There's a lot of push at 690. Sorry. Yeah, there's a lot of puts right here. People in puts. 689. Alright. I think I'm willing to test some puts here. Kind of just even dealing a little bit overextended here. Try to pull back on the ring. Yeah, we have buyers stepping in strong here over. Remember, this is a one-day buy block. And remember, we wanted to buy up, they were buying up these levels here. I'm just careful with QQQ. I want to wait for some type of confirmation to the downside here. It seems so obvious, right? But I'm proud of myself for sticking to my technicals. Here we have a little bit of a pullback on at that 100% level. If we get a 15-minute, let's just be patient and wait for a lower time frame entry. Yeah, but here, QQQ is gunning for that gap to the downside. And definitely fear of being wrong. I feel like it could be just so obvious in my face. That's where you know how. So here we're getting that pullback on SPY off of that 100% level. 200% level coming up. You can probably test the 200. There's that pullback I didn't want to get caught up in on QQQ. Let's see if it can touch something here like a VWAP and the 8 before we get over it and sellers step into the downside. So yeah, we waited 10 minutes and I think it definitely paid off here for us. I'm comfortable with waiting. Maybe look at the 1 hour, what's happening with IWM. This one I would be careful with. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at in the 1 hour and the 1 hour, right? So we're coming back up into the bearish zone. The levels of pressure would be the 8. But we did open below VWAP, so that's generally I don't really like that. But maybe like at 7, you can have a open above VWAP and then continue to the upside. And you also can have some bearish that we see here at previously low. And this is a one-day buy zone too, so they're going for that Friday rally upside. They're invalidating on the 1 hour. The 1 day. This is all a one-day buying block right here. There we go. This is what I like to see for QQQ in terms of some sell-off. Let me look for some puts on QQQ. Oh. Oops. In some puts, I'm going to keep a very tight stop loss. I'm going to put for QQQ. And I'm careful because this can snap back like no other. pop out. Got out a little bit early, but I'm not trying to mess around like how it is. Ooh, we got sellers stepping back in on SPY. I'm not trying to. You might get some confirmation for push on QQQ. If it's 15 minutes, I would be careful. Just because it's going to snap back and it takes a little bit longer. Yeah, that's what I don't want to get caught in. I think I'm going to move away from QQQ. The thing is that I'm just going to eyeball it. You guys can practice your risk management and see if you have to spend a certain volatility on it. And I do have push open, and I'll be looking at the 293. Even if I get some confirmation that I would have liked to see, and I don't like how it's, I don't think I get the stomach that. There we go. We got quick entry 5 minutes on. So I'm gonna try some small ones. Wait. Oh, SPY. My apologies. Okay, so you got confirmation. I'm sorry. I caught. So SPY is giving me confirmation that we want more downside here. For put. Ooh, I thought it was QQQ. It gave us confirmation that we want. Now, that being said, we're above these stop loss levels, so we're not rushing into anything. Let's just wait for a strong wick crash down to the downside. This being said, this is the thing. Let me show you really quickly what I'm seeing on the 1 hour. I told you this was going to be a bounce level here. So just kind of like the VWAP getting popped back up. And so let's just look and see if it, oh yeah, it's attempting to break out to the downside, but we also were contending with this 200 moving average. Let's just continue to be patient here. This is exactly what I didn't want to get caught up in on QQQ. And we didn't quite get confirmation for puts on QQQ. So low key might have broken my rules. I like how our bot came back and got some orders to the downside here on QQQ. Remember, this is a strong buy level here off a previous month's low, and it looks like you already have buyers trying to step in there. And I don't want to give my profit back, but I want to talk about this will be my last trade. If I jump into QQQ and just if I, if I'm not even going to go by stop losses, like let's say whatever my profit was on this move down. If I jump in and then it reverses, I'm not in anything right now, but if that's what because I don't want to, I'm getting in the habit of just kind of either close my day out or break even, or, yeah, just smaller losses. So here on the floor, we have early buyers stepping in. Let me show you here on the 1 day. We have early buyers stepping in off that previous month's low. IWM is giving confirmation to the upside. This would be a good one just because we're in that 3 minute, we're in that daily buy. And also, there's that gap up there. You might get a little bit of pushback to test the stop losses here because these are 200 moving averages and be careful here. We have these stay low. So you might, if you want to do a base hit, that's pushing it because it's kind of like a rubber ceiling. So you might get your 30% here, and then don't be too deep, but you're gonna have to stay low, fighting you here. And these 200 moving averages here, these are both, sellers are gonna be stepping in right here for you, and then the 50% of this gap. And it is a lower time frame. It's a 3 minute time frame. So So just be careful here. And then you can just use the 4 as kind of like your stop loss, just to be conservative. So this is the 1-day buying block, so it's like it's a B probability in terms of buying calls in the zone. Um, this would make it like an A probability for calls in this area. This is a 1-day buying block. There's a gap up here, and so you might take the stairs up here. You had a beautiful buy up here and a retest as well. Buy off of the 4 on IWM. So there you go. Do not be greedy if you're going to take profit. Absolutely take profit. There goes a little rejection at the 200, but if you can look to take some profit right around here, you see that the conservative take profit taking. Okay, beautiful. You got a 5-minute call entry, so you got a little bit more confluence there. I feel like let me just look at SPY real quick and see if I can, IWM and see if I can get into some calls here. Gonna keep a very tight stop loss. Oh yeah, we have a lot of so I'm in. Let's see if it fills my order for IWM. If it doesn't fill, okay, I wasn't able to get filled on IWM. So it just hit 30% there. That's one thing I like, one of the classes I took, I just don't want to chase it. I could have done a market order for it, and I just kind of forgot. But we're about to fill the gap here. 50% is usually a strong pullback as well, which would line up with these 200 moving averages, you guys. So don't be too greedy. Make sure to take your profit if you haven't already, and also that 50% in placement line. So it's the name of the game for today is base hit. Oh, my neighbor is fighting. Let me show you what it looks like on the wall. If you continue to hold above your 50% level, it would have been nice to be right and hold to try to get to this gap fill here, but my setup just wasn't there. I didn't have anything to tell me, and I want to make sure I'm following my rules. Beautiful recovery on SPY. Wow, it looks really hella good on the 1 hour. Hella good, right? So recovering above that VWAP. Um, the question is going to be, are they going to be able to fill this gap? We do have data in 7 minutes, so it's okay to wait. We'll get a little bit more, another opportunity. So it's still kind of like picking up. This is still a bearish zone. We will look to see if it gets invalidated. This would be some of the dumbest crap ever, just because we're supposed to fill the gap, yo. So breaking out to the downside. But I kind of told you, This is what, and you still gotta love QQQ. Because when we get the signal on this baby, it's go time. And that's when I tell you I paid my dues earlier this week and last week on Q, those are my dues. And this is the thing, like people get mad when they're like, oh, why are you charging for, because you can pay, you can learn these lessons out of pocket and until your little head figures out, or you can just have somebody tell you like, nah, QQQ, you gotta wait for the signal, wait for the green light. QQ's a lady when it comes to like, wait for the yes, wait for the green light, but when it's time to go, it's time to go. I'm leaving this on the 1 hour. We are approaching the top of the hour. Um, it looks a little different on the big screen. It's a little bit more collapsed even though it's big, but yeah, so we are 5 minutes out from the top of the hour, but you can already see I've already switched this over to the 1 hour there. For this one, let me show you how it looks. And so we're starting to recover off of that Z-Lock. I told you guys, I was like, the way we came through the Z-Lock and we opened the bar, we're going to want to snap back. So, and then probably what's going to happen at 7 is we'll open above Z-Lock and continue to the upside, which is just dumb for QQQ because we have to deal with this gap, though. You gotta deal with this gap. I don't know what you're doing. Same thing like your IWM. The downside of having all three is like if I'm kind of focused on this and then this moves, it can be a little frustrating. But if it like let's say we were focusing on this one um, and we captured the move, you know, it just is what it is. But yeah, I was more so focused on QQQ. And so this kind of crept up on us. But that being said, like I'm not even gonna be hard on myself because we did have bearish stuff here, so I wasn't really expecting that big of a reversal. Now that being said, we already crossed 100 and 200% here, which this is 100, 100, in cents move right here. So that should have been another clue that we were good and done with these pre-market levels and on a 1 day zone. As soon as we invalidated these stop losses to put to the downside, it was go time. Solid candle to the previous day low here. I do expect a retest simply because you got to retest these previous day lows before you get buyers, before you get confirmation. Give buyers confirmation that they want that upside. Beautiful recovery here on the 1 hour. Oh wow! Sorry guys, I just focused on the Okay, I'm seeing it in the comments. Somebody here. This is the thing. Like I'm picking out little call or put for opening bell on SPY. Uh, oh, clean on the put. Oh, good job. Put 500 on SPY. Nice. Ah, oh, that's awesome. Okay, well I didn't see that we had somebody here earlier in the chat, but I'm happy they made. Listen, he listen. I'm so happy for him. This made my day. When I tell you I am rich, I am rich. Thank you. I'm saying thank you Lord for his too. And looks like they're not here in the chat anymore. Oh, I'm so happy. And then the thing is, I'd have to just be back. I'm so happy somebody made 500 spot, made a quick 510 contract on SPY. And that's what's up. Yo, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Oh, I'm really so happy. I'm gonna cry. Hey, that's what's up, yo. What's up? Payment made his bag. Yo, yo. Hey, more confident than me though, because uh, I'm me of little faith. But I feel like people who watch this and whatever, like it's easier for them. I still have hang-ups and stuff from all my losses from back in the day. So yeah, the setup was there. That's what's up. So we're here. We're kind of just getting that rubber sealing effect. The 200s are strong. We are trying to break through. Oh, and actually, so what time is it? What time is it? We're 1 second out from, or 14 seconds out from the top of the hour. I do expect a pullback into VWAP. This is going to be interesting for QQQ because if we open still below these levels, I want to see where it opens in relation to VWAP. Let's go. We opened above, so we're kind of trying to be bullish. Here we want more upside. Same thing here. This one, SPY, I expect a pullback. We're either going to come back and test these stop loss levels here, possibly the 8, before we get more upside. Same thing here. I expect it to kind of touch VWAP, just people confirmation that we want more upside. Ooh, the other thing too, let me check the consumer sentiment. Ooh, we came in slightly lower. So our forecast was 4.3 and we came in at 4.2. Let's see how the markets react to that. Oh, I'm serious, you guys. I'm so happy for the person that made the 500. That's what's up. So here we have consumer sentiment. I'm going to take this off so that you can see the wick. Um, before that's awesome. Now, I think if I do this, let me see. Alright. So this one, I'm gonna see this. That is what's up. Congratulations. So here we, yeah, I always talk about the 50% gap here. I do apologize that this can be like a lot happening here, but we're gonna probably fill this space and can have more downside, but we have to break above this 50% level. It's fighting these 200 moving levels. Let's go back to the 5 minute because that's where we have the call entry, and then that way you can kind of see the levels that we're hitting. Let's see here. I expect more of a severe pullback here at the 50% level, which can be frustrating because you might not get that entire gap fill in one fell swoop. But yeah, we're just dealing with these 200 moving averages. They're like rubber ceilings, and rubber ceiling is more of an accurate, which is like a rubber ceiling, but here we go. So we didn't even get a pullback here on SPY in terms of on the 1 hour. Let's see here. We might get that pushback here right at that 8. So don't be too surprised if you try to go for that gap fill because the 8 is going to be a rejection level. But let's see if it gives us that gap fill. It's trying to break out to the upside here. And they could try to go for previous day low here. Let's go to the lower time frame just to kind of give you guys, let's start to look for some type of confirmation or entry. There we go. The only thing is, the same thing that's happening here is that you have these 200 moving averages, but this is a tinier, smaller time frame. Okay. I feel like 7:15 is when we'll get another confirmation of what we want to do. Here you're starting to see a little bit of sellers stepping in. Now this is I marked this gap off of the 4 hour, but on the 1 hour the gap extends further, and we are right at that 300% level. So not only does it line up with the 8, but we're going to decide if we want to continue to reject off of this level. But that's what looks like what is happening here. Woo! Look at IWM just shooting up. Take profit here at 50%, and especially at this gap fill. You didn't quite get it. Not the time to try to, in the next 12 seconds. It didn't even fill the gap. There we go. Come on, fill the gap. And that is so aggravating because QQQ did that. Like it didn't even fill. Okay, there we go. There we go. That candle opened up. There we go. They just filled the gap, and they're filling orders. There you go. Strong push through. There you go. Beautiful. All right, we filled that gap there. I put 80% because I know some pro traders like to take profit at 80%. So let's just see what happens here on IWM. And then here, once it hits 100%, do not be greedy. I would say just leave your runner. We're in a one-day buying, and so if we get confirmation of here, you can have more upside. All three of the ETFs are facing upwards, so we want to buy here. We're feeling bullish. There will be a retest of this 200 moving average, or an attempt to it. We never really quite retested this. These are two 200 moving averages. One is fast, one is slow. It's just coming right back into that gap and asserting that we want more upside. Beautiful. This is on a 5-minute time frame yet, so you just hit 100% here. Did it give it to you? It's just not quite giving you 100%. Let's see if we can kind of just really give you that 100% in spite of the gap fill. Let's see what it does here. And all three ETFs are surging to the upside. Beautiful. Start to take your profit there. Okay. Take your profit there. And then I took a little bit of a pushback here on the 8, just because of the time frame that would be on the 1 hour time frame. And then you're going to have to see continuation in buyers above. So we did have a breakout here. You do get oh, you know what? No, my order was supposed to be between 11 and 12, and that's why I paid for. This is annoying. Don't do this to me because I will not be there at that time. I specifically paid more. I specifically paid more for them to deliver within a 1 hour window. And then, because I have places to go, people to see, things to do. And then now they're talking about 11 to 3. No, I didn't pay for an 11 to 3. I paid for an 11 to 12, and I even paid extra for that. No, still paying some traffic. Come on now. There. Oh, there we go. We got that little bit of rejection here. Just be so careful. This is a lower time frame, but you kind of ideally want to open above these 200 moving averages. These are rubber shootings again. We have some influence here on QQQ with some buyers stepping in, and also on SPY. This is going to look so beautiful here. Let me show you on the 1 hour. Look at this. This is on the 1 day. This is all bullish carrots. Let me show you real quick. This is all bullish territory, the one-day buying block. So we just ate that up, and then we explode out of here. They're definitely giving us that Friday rally. IWM didn't even try to look at any downside. It was like, no, we on a Friday rally. This is what we do. We run on Fridays. I like to see it here on the 15-minute. We're getting a strong breakthrough this 200 moving averages. We might retest off of this level here. Let's keep it on the 5. No, it's happy. Happy, happy, happy. Oh, I know. You know what? And before I try to even get into any other trades too, let me just look at my overall P&L because I feel like I'm $4 away from a milestone amount. And the last time I got to like an even higher milestone amount, that typical like reversal type thing. So I mean, I can just try to just be happy with what I need for today. I was done at 6:46. I'm just gonna wait for some type of confirmation. If we get a 15-minute, you guys, just be even more patient because it can be a little volatile. This SPY is going for that gap fill. I would say if you want to get into some calls, there might be a little bit of a pullback here, but previous day low is what they're going to try to gun for. If you want to, everybody has their risk tolerance for stuff. So 15 minutes, you have a nice bullish to the upside. And the key level here is going to be the 50% level and previous day low. And today is absolutely about basic hands down. Ooh. Mm. I think I'm gonna. Man, today is so much stuff. I have to. I wish I could have played the music longer. Mm. What 7:12? Let's see what happens when we get into that first 15 minutes of the top of the hour. This is exactly what I expected in terms of like a sell below. So we're gonna have sellers stepping back in here. A little bit of a fight, but it's gonna come back into this bullish zone. And then once you get confirmation, like even if there's an order block down here, it has to retest, pick up some orders, and then give you the upside that you want on QQQ. Same thing for SPY. Um, SPY IWM has already satisfied its 100% level. But that being said, we are so close to a breakout here on the daily. I almost feel like if we get some type of like a confirmation here to the upside for entries, then we can try to hit through the same highs here. I'm gonna be doing posting real quick. What's up? Listen, that puts the biggest smile on my face. Ah, let's go. I knew it. I knew. Like, and then, let me just do this real quick. Let me show the people. Let me show the people what is going on. Oh, we had a 15-minute change of bars and stuff. So opening slightly below here. I said this yesterday, but I'm learning to be like much more assertive. You don't want to be looking for puts on IWM. This is a one-day buy zone. You've got bullish orders down here. You don't want to. You don't want to do that. Um, I would entertain more puts on QQQ, especially if you invalidate this zone. I'm not, uh, let me just try to handle my thought process real quick, especially if because we have this gap down here. That being said, we are closer to this gap. So, and this is I believe a bullish. No, this is a bearish zone on QQQ, but yeah, deal with it without real. This is the gap that they decided to fill today. And then maybe we could do like a lotto for put the downside over the weekend for down here because I don't like over the weekend. All right, I'm gonna do a video. Hey. So it's Friday. I'm done trading, but I wanted to share a trade that one of the people that was on my YouTube. I'm so happy, like y'all. When I tell you the biggest smile on my face, he was able to, everybody's gonna have a different trading style, but he saw the setup here when I was doing the pre-market analysis. It had just fired like here minutes before market open, right here. And so he got in, you can see it on his comments, he got 10 contracts. And I was talking him through it, like, well, I didn't know he was in there at the time, he or she, but as soon as it hit 100%, I'm like, don't be greedy. And he was able to get out before that reversal. That's what I'm talking about. All right, y'all, it's Friday. We're going to head into the weekend. Don't overtrade. Practice your risk management. We do have gaps across the board. IWM did fill a gap here. QQQ decided to fake us out on this gap down here, and it's going because it wants to fill up here. And then same thing with IWM. Secure 100% here, and then with us some upside. Have an amazing weekend, y'all. See you on Monday. Oh, no fighting. No fighting. That is what's up, yo. Let me see here. Hmm. Oh, yes. If I have my own voice, then I don't know. I like putting now the dates too because 2017. I love, yeah, okay. And now I'm just gonna move this down to everything is, oh yeah, I thought I was gonna put CP just cause yeah, you know what? That really makes me so happy. Like, knowing, okay, let me see, take a record. Oh, let me show you what's happening here on the 1 hour on QQQ. So, this one's going to happen. It's going to make that candle closes above the 8. We have buyers off of the 8, a little bit of a temper retest of the 200 moving average here, buying up off of that 100 level. Buy. When you look at the 15-minute, you might get another, you might, I'm just being really picky. Smaller candles here, especially on the lower half of this. We're kind of rejecting off of this 50% consequent approachment. That being said, this is why it's so important to mark the levels exactly to where they are. But yeah, it's 50% consequent approachment of the gap. Oh, you know what? You guys can see it so much better on the 15 minutes. Buying back into those forwards. We're just lollylagging. That's the word. That's the way, I like it, that's the way. I'm grateful because, like, I look forward to more of these with, I want people to win. Like, I'll be trying to ask my family to win on stuff. I understand the risk and everything that are involved. kind of like, even here, we're just trying to feel what to do here. I'm just going down a little bit. Definitely taking the stairs. The staircase to heaven here. Trying to hold its level above the 50% here on 5. There we go. And so even though we're maintaining above the 4, this is the 4 EMA, you're going to have a little bit of resistance here, right, as it's consequently pushing in the 200 moving average. You might get previously low. Sellers are going to step in here. For QQQ, same thing. I mean, got the 50% level. But other than that, we're kind of okay. You probably start to get more bears here at previously low. I'm going to delete this because I reset my indicator to give me the breakdown the way exactly where I want it. Now, remember, I set this gap over the 4 hour, but this is a 1 hour gap, so it's possible that we might hit, let me see, so 50%, yeah, it's like right around here. That's where you see that rejection. 50% of this 30-minute gap, and I think it's a 15-minute gap too. So it's fighting that 50% level there on that time frame. That's what you're seeing. I always ask myself, what am I seeing? What am I missing? And so without overcrowding my part, I prefer to do that for 4 hour time frame. Why am I getting smaller here? Okay, this is a buy level. So we are approaching 1 hour into market. If you're in profit, close it, shut it down, walk away. If there's nothing to see here, it's none of your business. That goes for myself too. I might just go on about my Friday. I have stuff I have to do. But oh, did you show up on my? Oh yeah, here it is. I got the code. What'd you do today? Oh, I helped somebody make $500. Don't talk to me crazy. Okay. It's slowing down. Let me just look at the economic calendar and see if there was anything else. No, that's pretty much it. Market conditions preliminary are higher though. It was forecast at 48 and coming at 54.9. And in terms of the numbers, like it means that we're expanding. So then that's why we saw that explosion the way that we did. Now this is interesting. And then Michigan inflation expectations forecast at 4.3 and 4.2. But let me show you what I'm looking at here on QQQ. Is it starting to sell off? Let me show you on the 1 hour, right? So we have this gap. Yeah, you can see it on the 1 hour. No. But again, oh, yeah. And so I'm going off of the 4 hour gap. This is the level. This is that 50% level, right? But if you do it off of the 1 hour, let me show you guys. we go off of the 1 hour, you can see that we, uh, and there's a reason why, like you can, yeah, let me just, there's a reason why you want to be as precise as possible. We're contending with that 50% level, and this is a rubber ceiling right here. So we failed to hold our level above the 8 EMA on the 1 hour, even though we're going for that gap fill. So we're going to have sell-off across the board. We just crossed over into 1 hour from market open in New York session. And so we're just starting to experience a little bit of sell-off. I've said it before, but you do not want to be looking for puts over here on IWM. This is a 1-day call block area, so just don't do it. Whereas with QQQ, it's just playing both sides today. It took us right to the tippy top, tippy bottom, yeah, of here. I know a lot of people were waiting for that gap fill. And then it took us to this other side, but it's taking its darndest speed of time trying to fill this gap here up above. And then here, this is bearish. I did talk about how I was going to kind of color code these so that I don't have to look at the 1 hour, and I want you guys to have the same healthy habits too. So like this would be red, so you can see just know right off the bat that this is the red zone. This is just means for green zone. That's okay. You'll work on that. It's kind of color code as you can. Oh, y'all. Actually, I need to put up social media. Well, I'm technically done. I'll probably stay on for another until 7:45 and then go about my business. Here, if we break below this, let me show you what I'm looking at on the if we check off of this, look for the wick on the lower time frame here, but if we start to break that down to the downside and start to validate those, you might be in for a little bit of chop. I'm going to tell you, because based off of what I'm seeing, there's some bounce levels in there. But on the 5 minute, you want to start to look at the validation of this zone here. Once you start to get some candle closes below here, you can see the sell-off here. Same thing, starting with the fall here below this level. I do not, if I'm honest, like that this bullish block is there. Be patient, you guys, because we're gonna get jerked around here. You might get something like at 9 and 10, but definitely wait for invalidation of this 30-minute zone if you want to mark the level, because I'm going to close out the computer, but 692, wait for that 30-minute block to get invalidated. The candle closes below there. Because the temptation is to see this sell level here. It didn't even give the people 50%. It didn't really give any. I'm not going to complain. I got more money. But, and this is a non-E trade, right? So I do knock off some points for that a little bit. But, yeah, buying my passive off of this is a bullish area. You can try to, off of the 8 here on the side. minute time frame. So if it breaks above here, you might get an alert to get into calls above here, and then get that final push to the 50% and maybe see the same low. But this is telling you that there's some talk, right? If you're gonna fight this rubber shooting, this seller's gonna step in here, and sellers are gonna step in here. You're gonna fight your way up. I think that, yeah, do not buy puts in this area. I'm showing you a couple of times. This is a 1 day order block that was filled. I mean, we bought it right up. A little bit of stairs because it's on here. More than likely, people at a higher time frame, they're probably going to want to have some type of like maybe a retest of the 8 here before we break out to the upside on Monday. Um, but on terms of higher time frame, no, why am I so much too long? I'm all of a sudden I'm just sleepy and so relaxed. Let me look at this. This is a beautiful sky right up off of this movie. I'm gonna start looking forward to like you guys. I think I'll leave you on the 15. Here we had a beautiful retest of the 4 and these 200 moving averages that overlap. And so if you get a past the upside, you can kind of hold with confidence because we also have the 5 minute. We have a 3 and the 5 minute bit of confirmation. Right, so just keep looking buying back into some overblocks from the upside. Yeah, there we go. There's something from that upside here. Maybe on a 15 minute. And then here, let's switch over to a higher time frame. Yesterday was a nice day for me too in terms of like I love putting in the work. So I was caught on daily and I got the alert on my phone and I was just like, oh, I'm not doing anything really right now. And so I looked at the chart. I'm like, let me just see what it's doing because I don't normally take any trades during market hours. I mean during office hours. Um, Usually, because by the end of the 2 hour session, there's not a lot going on, but the volatility is there for like, what's going on with the markets right now. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, okay, and it was slow enough that it allowed me to get in my app, place the order, and then had to hold it a little bit longer than I would like, but still got out with some nice profit off QQQ yesterday. And yeah, so we're just kind of Friday just matches in terms of things just slowing down a little bit. I'm gonna hop off here at 7:45 Pacific Standard Time. I'm gonna just go ahead and close out write out what I need for today. And that was a total of, this is good. Sometimes I'm learning like I don't know. One trade, and it was okay. And I'm just gonna protect my profit at that point. Let me see if there's anything I like to get in the habit of putting some money into my Roth IRA after each trade. And so what I'm gonna do for today is just look and see if there's anything on sale that I wanna buy. Okay, I love what we're doing there. I should buy a little bit more of this. Let me try something here. Maybe just transfer over. minute. I always do it off of this percentage. You're recovering really nicely here on all three ETFs, buying up off of the 200 moving averages here. And then here, same thing, buying off of the 4, which is not necessarily the strongest level I like to use the 4. So we have a bullish base here on the 15 minutes. So you might get that 50% level, and then next level you'll see the 2 below. But I like how we opened above this base here on SPY as well. Oh, I'm not. Fell off on all three. Hold on. What percentage I want this one here? Oh. Okay. I think I will do so. Because I do the same way we do base hits. You want to start compounding your profit. And those small contributions in your Roth IRA, the reason you want to do it in your Roth IRA and not in your regular account is your regular, I was going to say checking account, is because not only does Robinhood match a 3%, you look at this, how much you guys see this, but also it protects it from taxes at withdrawal. I want to see this. Oh, I see. Because I was like, why is it look like that? This is the 4 hour. Okay. This one, I don't know why I put it to the 4 hour. I must have done that accidentally. But this so much better for me. I'm going to put this here because I want you guys to see on the 1 hour we were there on the day before, but it's coming to, let's see what it's reflecting off of that 200% level. So, did I transfer it over? Oh, yeah, I did. Okay, I looked it over. And so then I'm just gonna look and see what's on sale. I feel like I want to buy some more so I think what I'll do is I will buy a little tiny bit of this one, and then I'll put the rest in my other. Because I want to get at least I'm definitely buying those. Oh, there's one more thing I need to do in the next minute. Definitely got it off right here. I'm keeping that better. I'm hearing noises in my house. Because now I'm scared. Ah! I was hearing something. All right, let's see. Set this. Okay, so let's try it on. Hmm. I'm gonna leave this on the 1 hour for you guys. And this one says we want to leave it on the 1 hour. Ooh, so we're getting some puts on QQQ, y'all. Put the low here. And then I just, like I said, I don't think I'm gonna try SPY. It's just me. This is a 1 hour thing. I'm gonna try to leave it on the 1 day. You guys will be able to see. I am dragging today. I'm super zen. I'm not tired. I'm just like really super chill. But it is Friday. But I like how chill I feel. I think I'm gonna keep this on the 1 day here because I really don't want you guys like trying to take clips in this level. Let me look at the 1 hour real quick and see why we were. I'm gonna delete this. I think that what I was looking at here is there might be a zone over here. Yeah, from puts. But I think I'm going to delete this. Now that being said, maybe I will leave it because see like how we opened below this VWAP here, and it's a rubber ceiling that we must come back from. Even though, yeah, y'all, the technicals they're trying to, even though I'm a technical girl myself, the rules of law just go back side. I will not come down and reconcile. But yeah, not looking good. Especially if we start to break below the previous low here. We come back into the put territory. And then here, maybe on the 1 hour, 4 hour looks like. We had it. Okay, let me show you something here. Let me show you something. Let me tell you something. Hold on. So this is the 4, but we rejected. I would have liked to see us reject the 8, but let me show you on a slower time frame. Of course I need it. Let's make it like let's make this color something that we can see. Let's make it purple. Okay. Um, we didn't even quite hit that. We didn't even quite hit that 4 to reject off of it. That being said, so be careful, right? Um, we didn't quite hit this level, but we're rejecting it. We kind of came to this 4 to the 50% level. And it's so funny, guys. The only reason I'm staying here is because I don't want to have to go to wherever next I'm going. But I have exciting stuff after. But and so then we continue to break below this 8 and below this 4 and back down here. We did open right at the VWAP. That's that nice. We are overall bearish here, including on the 4 hour. get us set up for some downside here. And guess what? If you're done trading for today, we have, I don't know if you can see the rejection here off of the, let me do that for lower time frame. Just barely off that 50%. So we're rejecting off of that 50% and filling orders to the downside. This is a gap down, so we took orders to the downside here. That being said, unlike the other ones, we opened above the VWAP here, so a little crappish, but overall the trend is bearish here. But this is not an ideal. Like we can buy this right back up. Although look at this, you gotta look here and look here. I'm gonna leave you guys on until I step out of the house. So this might be another 15 minutes. And then, oh, but you know what? I'm gonna take this off because you guys can't see with my head and everything, so that the rest of you can see to make money. I'm gonna take myself off the stage. I will see you guys later.